We are starting chapter 3 after our dear author has explained about her childhood trauma, specifically concerning eating disorders. So if this subject is sensitive to you, that is a warning, but it is a happy story, and currently she's on her way to India with her, at the time, husband, since he was on a bit of a spiritual journey and she was just there for the ride. This chapter is called Take Off and a Vow. It was September of 1996. You can always come back, my yoga teacher told me. Obvious, perhaps, but it hadn't occurred to me. And now it was only 2 days before our departure, and I was no more convinced about this trip than when Jim, my husband, had first spoken of it. It made no sense. No one is saying you have to stay the full 3 months, he reminded me. You can change your ticket and return early. Tickets issued, bags packed, and a semester off school had rendered 3 months in India inevitable and intractable. Yes, of course, I could come back early. I hadn't registered for the fall semester, but I could still get practicum units. I could get started on planning my research and dissertation. I could continue the volunteer work I was doing at the Family and Children's Services Drug Rehabilitation Center in San Jose, where I rocked heroin babies to sleep while their mothers received addiction counseling. The mere possibility of changing my ticket, though, did bring the breath back into my lungs and loosened the grip of desperation. Jim told me that if he had found a guru, he'd likely want to stay longer and alone. His unspiritual wife would be a burden, and while the idea of wandering through India with Jim was bearable, the notion of doing so alone was not. Our flight to New Delhi via Singapore was scheduled to depart in 2 days, on the morning of the 11th of September, 1996. Or so we thought. Rereading the tickets, we realized that the flight was actually leaving the night of the 10th. Oh my God, I told Jim, that's tomorrow. Anxiety about the trip transformed into frenzied packing, electrolytes, broad-spectrum antibiotics, water purifiers, a blank journal, vaccination cards, and cotton skirts and pants that covered my ankles to respect local custom. I had no more time to think about the rightness or wrongness of the trip. There was barely time to buy locks for our suitcases. I had been many things by that point, but never an aimless wanderer. All travel was purposeful. The best summers of my life were an international teen camp in Chailly-sur-Lausanne, please forgive me, which is a place in Switzerland where if my mother had known what went on, she'd never have sent me. Despite the directionless decadence of hanging out in cafes, bars, pizzerias, the bonds of friendship have been lifelong, and the depth of interfaith, intercultural love in a world of wars over borders imprinted deeply on my psyche. My trips to the mountains of California and throughout the United States during college vacations were responses to the call of the forest. I felt connected to myself and the universe when lying atop fallen needles beneath towering redwoods. These ancient trees called out to me across freeways, over the tops of malls and office buildings, through the doors of Stanford and my apartment, and reeled my heart in, along with my body. Now here I was, on a plane headed neither to friends nor to my beloved redwoods. I was going to New Delhi, a city I knew teemed with lepers, beggars, mosquitoes, and far too many people. It made no sense. Although I was neither religious nor spiritual, I always had a deep belief that the universe has a plan. I didn't bother myself with who or what the planner was, but I did not believe anything was random. So, as our plane flew over Southeast Asia, I thought, there must be a reason you're on this trip. You just don't know why. Just keep your heart open and you'll come to understand. If you can't stay open, return to California. It'd be stupid to wander around India if you're too afraid to find out why you've gone. So, I vowed then and there to keep my heart open. And that's the end of chapter 3. These are nice bite-sized chapters that we can finish in each reading session. So, thank you for listening. I look forward to see what kind of adventure awaits dear Saraswati. Namaste.